guys, welcome to episode 1 of Embracing the Shift. I'm Erin.
And I'm Stacy. And we're super excited to be here and for you guys to tune in to episode 1.
Yes, be gentle with your reviews.
Be kind.
Episode 1, be kind. We don't know what we're doing. So
Give it a minute.
Fine. Give it a minute. If you hang on to episode like 3 or 4, it'll be a totally different scenario.
Yeah, if you make it, we'll be good.
Just stick with us. Please.
Keep showing up. That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
Keep showing up.
That was perfect. Transition. Okay, so we thought long and hard about what to do for episode 1. And it just made sense to kind of define what the name was. First of all, we searched for names for 72 years and every podcast name in the world is taken because there's 200 million podcasts. So
yep.
So there's nothing available, but the name Embracing the Shift came to us. Surrender came to, there were a couple different words that came to us, but shift is such a broad word in a sense of we just really, it resonated with all the different things that we're going through, I think, as moms and wives and friends and business owners, that it just made sense. So we wanted to kind of like give a little breakdown of what you can expect on the podcast.
Yeah. And what we mean by shift, because when you think about the different words and you're not even in the different seasons of life, you're not even really transitioning because you're not transitioning out of one and into another. It's like this consistent evolve, right? And so you're evolving. And so we really chose shift because whether it's like shifting one way, shifting the other way, shifting
or whether it
gears,
happens like really fast or really slow.
Absolutely. And we are all going. So wherever you fall in this season that you're in, and we'll get into that in a minute of the different seasons, but you are, I would assume that you're going through a shift. You are shifting in some way of whatever season you might be sitting in, whether you're in the season that we are going to be discussing or getting into it or coming out of it, right? We're all shifting.
Well, and so my season right now, I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. I'm 44. I own a business. I have I almost said 4 kids. I have three kids. And I have definitely gone through, which we'll talk about and I will share very openly in depth in different episodes, but have gone through a lot over the last 4 years since opening my business that has just changed really like who I am as a person to my core, which I'm so proud of, but the amount of work that it took was like, and I think I'll always be working on it, but I'm still definitely working, but friendship changes, family changes, just owning a business is something else. And then waking up one day and going, whose body am I living in? And who's this person? And where's her patience level?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Absolutely. And kind of to piggyback on that, I am 37, so nearing my 40s. And I'm a business owner as well, have been a business owner for 10 years. And when I say that, I feel really old when I say that. But I started the business at a really young age, a totally different season than I'm in now, and have since then started another business. And it's hard sometimes when you start these different businesses or just these different seasons, you have to, sometimes you forget to give yourself grace to say like, I'm actually in a different season than I was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, a year ago even, right? And so I think us starting to realize who you are in this new chapter, in this new journey. So, and I have 4 kids. So I do have 4 kids. And
she's got the 4th one, not me.
I have the 4th. And Erin will get into this, but our kids are everywhere from mine's leaving preschool and entering into middle school. And so we're entering into this preteen. Erin's got teens. And so
I'm going to have a high schooler
on
Tuesday.
I'm going to have a middle schooler on Tuesday. Yep. And it's a weird feeling. And like you said, you kind of just wake up and we're also busy that I don't want to say we're going through the motions because I try to be very well present, but I do wake up certain days and I'm like, how did we get here so fast?
How did we get here? But also like, how do we not get out of here, but it feels so overwhelming that you're like, how do I settle things a little bit so that I'm not, so that I can absorb and soak in some of these moments that we're desperately trying to hold on to, but there's just so much happening and so much going on in our heads, in our outside world, that it feels chaotic.
And we mentioned this briefly, but one of the things that is really important that we want to share is that the heart behind getting on here and speaking into a microphone and connecting with everyone is there's really sticky, hard, real life changes that we're going through that no one has talked about. And if they have, we haven't heard it. And there's not this rally cry behind this like middle-aged, like, go get him, Tiger. I don't feel like I wake up every morning and I'm excited with like a cheerleading squad behind me. And for whatever reason, when I was a new mom, I felt like I had that a little bit. Like I felt like people look at you with a new child and they're like, how can I help? But they look at you with a teenager and they walk away.
Bye.
So we have people like walking away when I just am like, not walking away truly, but I don't there. And then you do start having these conversations when you do have time, which is never, but we are all just going. And then when you do have the chance to sit down and you start realizing like, oh, I'm not crazy, or you're going through this, or this is normal. And these layers start getting unraveled a little bit to where you start realizing like, oh, wow, this is a whole new season and we're all going through it.
I think being in my job so my background is I own a med spa. I'm a nurse injector. I don't do it as much as I used to, but I've spent the last, how long ago was 2007? 18 years ago?
What?
18 years ago. I've spent the last 18 years doing injectable aesthetic treatments for women, helping them feel better. And what I realized, because my passion is talking to people. I love talking to people. So that was great for me because they'd come sit in my chair, we'd start talking and they would just start to pour out all these things. So I feel like I had a little bit of an advantage going into my 40s where I was like, I kind of knew what to expect because I had been with these women who were sharing with me things that they maybe weren't sharing or that they were struggling or whatever. So it was kind of like I got therapy from them, even though they were kind of getting therapy by talking to me in the chair. And so I got a lot from them. So I kind of feel like I knew what to expect, but it was also one of those things where like, you don't know what it's like to have a baby till you have a baby. You don't know what it's like to be married till you're married. Like you don't know what it's like to go through this phase of life or go through some of these challenges until you walk through them. But I think that's what drives our goal in doing this podcast is like, it does soften the blow a little bit when you feel like you can go, oh, I remember so-and-so said such and such.
And just normalizing talking about
it because that's I get as much, like I was saying, I get as much out of it as my clients do.
Absolutely.
And my girls at the office make fun because they're like, I think people come to just sit in your chair and talk to you, not to actually get a treatment. But I think it's because I love it and they pick up on that.
Yeah. And I think the generation before us, our parents, they just didn't talk about it. Everything was more private. And so I don't feel like I knew what I was walking into. And
they didn't know how to prepare us, I don't feel like.
Right. And to no one's fault. It's just, I think that now that we do start talking about it and being able to help one another and get resources, because there are that is one thing I'm so grateful for. There are so many resources for these different scenarios that we might be walking through. But until you start realizing like, oh, I didn't realize I could get help from that, or I didn't realize so-and-so is going through this, or maybe again, I've heard from Erin, things you might be going through in the teenage years. And I know I'm right on the cusp of it. And so that's even helped, just knowing like, okay, this might be like coming up.
Some of it's funny and fun and like, oh my gosh, that happened to you. And some of it's really heavy and really hard, which is why people don't talk about it because it is really heavy. But I went to a retreat recently, and one of the things that I recognized at that retreat was, oh my gosh, the number of women that are experiencing some of the same really difficult subjects, hard topics to talk about. You have no idea. The woman sitting across from you that you think has got it all together is dealing with some really, really, really heavy stuff. And I think just creating a space where women can at least hear other women share. And we definitely want to have we would rather have a lot of guests on. I mean, y'all aren't going to have to listen to us talk to each other the entire time. We want to have different guests on. We want to have people come and speak about lighthearted things. We want to have people come and speak about, really, really important hard topics to broach. So I think just having that space for someone to go to who is like, I feel very alone, but they don't realize they're really not alone at all.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you want to go into this too, but when Erin and I started talking about this shift, we really actually broke down different ways you shift, right?
Yeah. So like what is the shift, and like defining the shift is a couple different categories almost. So there's physical, emotional, relational, and spiritual were the four that we kind of came up with. And so physical, I mean, I see that at my job all the time. So women wake up in their
every day.
Same is, you wake up and you go, who's this person looking back at me. Your skin is changing, your energy level is changing, your metabolism is changing, and we're fighting it tooth and nail. But the woman right next to you is fighting the same exact battle. And so I think when we feel good on the outside or look good on the outside, we feel good on the inside. And I think that we've finally tamed that whole aesthetic look where we're getting to like a more natural place where people are like, okay, it is okay for me to get Botox or filler. It's done tastefully and it does make me feel better. And that's okay. Like, let's talk about what we're doing. Like I will tell you guys all the things. Let me just tell you about my glow up.
And I was opposite. I was nervous to talk about it. Can I do it? Does it make me wrong? Does it make me look like I'm not me? And is it okay? And then again, even getting to know Erin more, but we just really broke through, like, you take care of your body.
Yeah. If it makes you feel good, there's nothing wrong with that, I think.
And you've done a great job of always having a holistic approach. And that is our heart too behind this. And I think that as I personally, and I know Erin would say the same, getting older, I have started taking a holistic approach to everything rather than saying like, I do not feel good today. Like, okay, let's like unpack that a little bit. There might be something going on, giving yourself grace, because there are a lot of transitions. And, especially if you are sitting in the seat where you are a mom, your body goes through a lot of change. If you have multiple children, it goes through multiple changes. My littlest, for example, is 5, and I still am dealing from postpartum,
like hair
stress and hair falling out and things that no one told me, and it's all worth it. And I love it. But still you wake up and you're just like, man, I feel a certain way inside. And then you look in the mirror and you're just like, this is harder than I thought it was going to be.
You know what? That made me think because I'm on this Pilates journey. You guys will hear about it plenty, but I love me some Pilates. I will not reference myself a Pilates princess because I'm definitely never a princess, but that's too like delicate. I'm definitely more of like a bull in a china cabinet, but Pilates is like, speaks to me on like a whole nother level. But I am not someone who's ever worked out. Like I do not work out. And that was obvious for many years that I did not work out, but I didn't take care of myself. And when I think you find different things that work for you, but I really genuinely think I was not able or didn't have the space in my life to even find something that worked for me until my daughter was like 8, my youngest. It was like 8 years after having my last baby, or 7.5 years, where I was like, oh, okay. I do have time for that today. So I hope that people don't start as late as I do. That's not, but it does go to show like how busy we get where we don't prioritize ourselves at all, don't prioritize our health. And now I'm waking up every day just like so thankful that my body is healthy enough to do Pilates, because Pilates is so great for me mentally and physically, that I'm shifting, no pun intended. And I'm seeing it totally different. I just hate that it took me till my youngest was 7 or 8 to prioritize myself.
Well, and if you are listening and you have a younger child or a little toddler infant, I mean, I will say again, ours is 5, our littlest, but my husband and I we try to stay healthy and active. And I started communicating with my kids that like, hey, it's really important that mommy and daddy take care of themselves. You want us to take care of ourselves. And so I think even communicating with your kids when they get to that age of like, hey, this is something that like you will want when you get older, and I want you to instill that in you. But the physical shift is huge. And again, sometimes you don't feel good talking about it. There are days you feel great. Maybe there are days you don't, and we'll bring guests on who can talk more about the hormone level. I mean, just all different sorts of things of like why you might actually be feeling that way. I can't
wait to bring on people to talk about like, the peptides that are coming out. Like I want to bring, like my nurse practitioners in my office are so great, but the peptides that are all like, it is like the Wild West. Like we don't know what works and what does work, but we're figuring it out. And so just helping people maybe navigate, there's so many options now for like health and wellness and anti-aging and workouts, and like what works best for one person doesn't maybe work for the next person. And I just feel like there's, if we're going to TikTok for all of our information, we're probably not getting accurate information. And I don't want to, says a TikTok queen.
I'm not on TikTok.
Lucky you.
And I don't want to speak for you, but I do feel like as we have had conversations that, please no, I don't think we're ever on here that like, we want to stop aging. Like we're not going to age.
No.
I think we are entering into this phase where it's like, we know we're aging and we want to be setting a legacy for our kids.
Embrace.
That's the whole point of this is embracing this shift. And as you're aging, how can we age to a point where we're not, like you said, there's going to be nights we're crying. There's going to be nights we're laughing, days where we feel like we're, alone and not crazy. But again, we're not trying to say like we're stopping aging or we don't want to look like we're older, but really we are going to. And how do we do that?
Well, and how do our bodies function the best? And I think that made me think of perimenopause, because we've not even said the word yet. But
I don't like the word.
I know, I hate the word. But I'm circling the
Okay,
not the drain.
We're normalizing it. We're normalizing it.
Yes, normalizing perimenopause and menopause. I would bet, and this is going to be recorded, so now if I say it and I'm wrong, it's going to be really, really bad. I would bet that there are specialists. I bet people go to school, medical school, and specialize in perimenopause and menopause only in the next 10 to 20 years. I bet there are doctors that only treat hormones, kind of like we have so many different specialties, oncology and rheumatology, like all these specialties. That will be a specialty because we're learning so much so quickly about hormone therapy. So bringing on some experts in that area would be, for me, I would love to like ask all the questions, because I would love to better understand what we know as of now. It changes very quickly.
Well, and one of the things, not to add so many layers, but as our bodies are changing physically, we are now, if you're in this shift, the same shift that we're in, our children are going through physical changes.
Oh,
and so we are like, and we wake up trying to be like, okay, let's get our hearts and minds right.
and puberty at the same time.
And then our children are hitting puberty. And I literally looked at my husband this morning in the bathroom and I was like, I think it's going to get hard. Like it's about to get really hard. Our oldest is 11. And we're a preteen, and the preteen teen years are real. I mean, we all went through it, but I think that's the other layer that's so fun is like, we are talking about our physical changes. And then it's like, oh, and
by the way,
your kids are going through puberty.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That has been probably like the catalyst to me going, okay, I need to be in the best headspace that I'm in.
They need you mentally.
Because they need me to support them. And it is a rough ride.
Because I always said, like, keeping
a child. What did we say a second ago? Buckle up.
Buckle up. When your kids are 0 to 5, I've learned, like, you just keep them alive. Like, you physically have to keep them alive. Now, I'm like, oh my gosh. If I had a rough day, I get home and they need me. And if I had a rough day, like, sorry, Charlie, I got to address that at midnight because my kids now need me after their practice from 8 to 10 to talk about something that happened, or, someone their face might be breaking out, and you can't, like, this sounds awful, but you can't fake it. Like, they need you.
They need you to be real.
To be parents, right? Yeah. So, like, that's my heart. But that other layer of like, like our physical change, their physical change
happening at the same time. Such a gift. Such a gift.
It is. But, and it can't, and again, I think that as long as that's what I'm as hard as it is, I'm excited to be able to talk about it with my kids. And I want to be prepared.
For sure.
Physical change is a big one.
Physical's big. Emotional.
Emotional.
So I think in our 40s, there's this inner awakening where all of the sudden you can't tolerate what you could tolerate maybe in your 30s. Like, I feel like...
Even like loud noises.
Yes. Oh, I have mesophobia. Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
Not even loud noises, but like when people chew around me and things, I'm like, oh my gosh.
But I could deal with a loud house. And then recently I'm like, why is there so much noise?
Right? Like, I get easily overstimulated. I think we just have increased emotional awareness. Things that we used to be able to push down, we can't really push down anymore. Right. And I think people either deal with it, which is very, very hard. This is spoken from a person who's currently walking that path, or we kind of just continue to ignore it. But then who does that serve? And you kind of have to look at like, are you really ignoring it? Because it's always there, right? So I think like we just have this deeper desire for authenticity from people. And I think our expectation levels change as we get older.
Yes. And again, like I said, but then whether you are married, not married, have kids, usually there's someone else requiring your emotional attention too. And trying to meet that. And, again, this shift we're in, we're talking about with our children, like they're going to react to their emotions differently. I am not a sympathetic person. Like, I don't have a lot. I don't know if you know that about me. No. Like, I don't have a lot of sympathy. It doesn't come naturally to me.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. So I am very much just, you're good. Okay. Get on your way. So I have a soft heart. Like, I really care. I care a lot, but the actual sympathy, that's different. The sympathy piece.
I'm the opposite. And I've had to work on not being overly, I'm not good at being like, okay, go. I'm better at it now, but
isn't that interesting? No, see, I am an overthinker and I care a lot, but the sympathy piece is very small.
I love that.
And
actually.
So,
Goals.
yeah, I don't know if we've ever had that conversation.
No.
So I am working on that with my kids. And when they come to me and need me, then I'm like, okay, wait, you actually need me right now. In fact, for what it's worth, I know we're not getting into too much, but I started telling my kids because if you do know, I talk fast, I walk fast. I do everything fast. And so I've stopped saying like, oh, when life slows down, it just won't. And I think I'm just wired that way.
You've literally said that to me probably 4 million times since I met you.
And
you've quit.
Right.
You have quit.
I've stopped saying when life slows down because it just won't. And I've stopped apologizing for it too.
Yeah.
I've just kind of said like, this is it. And this is the ride we're on. But I recently had a conversation with one of my kids and I just said, hey, if you need something from me that's really important, because I know I can just like walk through the house really quickly. I said, you have permission to grab my arm and say, Mom, this is really important. Like I need this.
Great. Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of had to give them permission because my biggest fear is I do have such a big heart, but what if I'm walking so fast and talking so fast that I'm unintentionally just moving right by it.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest fear with my kids. So I was like,
That's
give you permission to grab my arm and to tell me like, I'm going through something and I need you right now.
I'm gonna steal that one.
So like I had to give them that permission, because I think our kids don't want to upset us. And they're talking about just the emotional change they're going through. They don't know how to express it.
Well, and a lot of times if they see us stressed, they'll just kind of like shut down and they don't want to bother us. So that's great to give them that permission to do that. I think that, one of the things that I read when we were doing some research for this podcast was that in the emotional part, shifting from doing all the things and learning to kind of say no, it's going to help us physically, emotionally. It's going to help us in all the categories. But I think shifting from doing it all to like what actually serves me, because whatever serves me is going to serve my kids. If I'm not in a good space and I'm doing too much, I'm taking on too much, that really doesn't benefit anyone.
Right.
But I think we think it does because it looks good on social media, or it looks good if we're at all the things. And we're so worried about what it looks like to everyone else that we're not paying attention to what it feels like to ourselves or to our kids.
Well, and I know we're not dipping into the spiritual side right now, but I will tell you, I think that whether we intentionally do it, because like I will tell you, like I don't hurry to do all the things and try to conquer the world for social media. However, it feels good to me, and I feel good when I achieve things and accomplish things. And so, to your point, like at what point does that become our idol or our God, where we're just like, I just want to accomplish things, do things. I want to set out to do something and accomplish it, and because it feels good.
Absolutely.
But
well, you and I are both very driven, so we want to accomplish. We want to be like told, like, oh, great job.
Absolutely. Whether I like will actually come out and say it, I love accomplishing things and doing things. And so, but when you dip into the spiritual piece of really like, is that where our identity lies? And is that what's going to fill up our cup? We know it's not, but I think the world we live in, whether it's, even if it doesn't make it on Instagram, we just like to feel like we're accomplishing something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that can be the death of us when we're just stretched so thin.
So let's go straight into the spiritual. Yeah. We'll skip relational. We'll come back to it. Straight into the spiritual part of where you're at in your 40s. I find myself, so like everybody grows up very differently. I think a lot of people that have been born and raised in Texas, handful of them were raised Southern Baptist. I'm going to assume we're kind of all in the same boat, but I know there's so many different religions and so many different belief systems. But I think something that is across the board is when you get in your late 30s, 40s, maybe 50s, but I feel like it happens before then. I know for me, like I've started questioning a lot of things, and I've started going, wait a second. Was I living that way because that's what I was told to live? Like, it's just been a lot of like, I've actually become closer to God because it's more of a relationship and it's not a to-do list. And it's very much more, I'm very much more connected because I'm shifting the way that I see him. And that didn't come until my late 30s or 40s when I really started going, it's okay to like figure out what my relationship with him is my relationship with him. And whatever each person's relationship is with what they believe in is their relationship. And it's very individual. And I think it goes with taking that autonomy when you get a little bit older to go, wait, this is my life.
Right.
This is also my life.
Right. Well, and I was in the same boat. I mean, yes, I was raised in a Southern Baptist home. And then as you get older, you start finding your own path. And then now really to your point, I mean, I'm going through it right now where I'm having these conversations and even just thought processes of I grew up saying this. I grew up having someone tell me this, but what does that actually mean? And even with my kids, I have, one of my kids is a believer and has been baptized, and the other, and so they're at these different stages. And I also told my kids, I'm like, here's the home I want to raise you in, and here's what we believe in, my prayer for you. But at the end of the day, this is your faith, and you have, you know what I mean? Like you want your kids to have their own relationship and spiritual journey. And that's something that has really been on my heart lately is I have prayers that I pray, but it's their spiritual journey.
It's such an individual.
And knowing that they were God created them and there's a path for them that they're on, and letting go of that, I think is a little hard for me because as a mom, we say, oh, they're going to be great, but I so carefully try to weave them in a certain way where I'm like, I want to guide them in the right direction. I want to teach them the right things, to know right from wrong, to, have the fruits of the Spirit. But at the end of the day, like I want them to want it. And that's up to them. And that's where we have to let go.
It goes back to my favorite word. You know my favorite word.
Surrender?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be a tattoo podcast episode, I said tattoo, right?
Tattoo podcast?
It sounded kind of like type 2. Tattoo podcast episode where I'm going to get the word surrendered tattooed on my body.
That was going to go.
Sorry. That's my new favorite word. It doesn't mean that I've just thrown my hands in the air and I'm not parenting anymore, although some days. But it does mean that letting go of the control of these are not my children.
Yeah.
These are God's children and he gave them to me. And I definitely want to set the best example, but I am also a human being.
Yes.
And they're humans, they're little humans, and we're all in the same boat. Yeah. And so each morning I just I surrender all three of them and I just pray for the Holy Spirit to really show me how can I be of assistance to them? How can I be helpful to them? I don't want to hinder or get in the way of their relationship and their walk. And their walk is not always going to look like what I want it to. And they are going to mess up. And those are those moments where I have to sit back and go,
I think that's the hardest.
God, they're yours. They're yours. So that word surrender is my favorite because I'm using it in every aspect of my life right now. Yeah. But it has given me so much more freedom and it has released so much pressure almost off of me where I'm like, you have to truly do it. It's hard every day to really truly live in that headspace, but you can see so much more and you're so much more appreciative when you're in that headspace and you can see God work so much. It's so much more clear because you're not trying to control it and you're not looking at your own stuff,
Right. You have those, I call them God winks where you're trying to control so much. And then it happens to I know you're laughing at me. I'm going to get to heaven and God's going to be like, are you done yet? You tired?
Are you exhausted yet?
Do you have fun? Trying to tell you.
Okay. So the last one.
Yeah. Well, real fast on that. Yeah. One last thing on the spiritual side and the shift. One thing that I think would be interesting to dive into at one point is, I do think this is a whole separate beast, which we don't have to get into today, but social media with our kids and the next generation. But because of that, we don't have to dip into it now. They are getting exposed to things at an earlier age. And so whereas certain topics, whether it's religion or just personal beliefs, I know. Should we say there's a large cricket crawling across the floor?
Sorry guys, just caught it out of the corner of my eye. He's fine. Just got big legs.
Crickets don't bother me. It's just large. Everything in Texas is so
huge. When he
jumps,
it's over. I'm just telling you right now, the podcast is over as soon as he jumps in my lap.
Everything in Texas is just massive. I saw a bug yesterday and I was like, how is this normally wouldn't be that bad, but it's times 10 size.
He really is large.
They're just, everything is, I don't know if they just eat, I don't know.
Okay, he's going
they've
towards
taken hormones.
Hayden, so Hayden can deal with them.
But all that to say, where I was going is because people are, kids, I'll say it, because kids are exposed to things earlier. I don't know about you, but I'm finding where I'm having, and I'll continue to share nuggets that I've learned. We went to a middle school kind of kickoff last week at our church, and they were saying to have conversations with your kids before they're exposed to it at school, because you want to make sure that they're informed.
Do you want me to tell you the
information before?
Do you know when you're supposed to talk to your kids about sex? Do you know the age now?
No.
8 to 10.
We're a little behind that. We did it 10, but all that to say, and same thing. Well, same thing with religion though, and different types of religion. And so,
but that's how young they're being exposed, whether it be a friend or they go to a sleepover and that person has an older sibling and that they have something on their computer. And you never know where they're going to see stuff.
I wasn't prepared for it hitting this early. And my kids do not have phones at this age, but
mine either.
but they're exposed to it. And so I think that one thing which I would love to dive into later, but on the spiritual side is realizing like the questions our kids are going to get asked, and not that they have to have all the answers, but just even talking to your kids on knowing like you may not have the answers and that's okay, but these are types of questions you're going to get. And I want them to be okay knowing that and not be afraid to answer certain things or to say, I don't know, to help educate them. But I do feel like there's this pressure, like, or not pressure, but just awareness of our kids are going to be exposed to these topics earlier than I think in my mind I thought it would be.
Oh, it's so early.
So even shifting my mindset of like, man, we don't want to have these conversations, but we need to have these conversations.
So I did not have an early conversation with my oldest. He's 15. And I won't get off on it, but I'll just tell you, like, he was 10 or 11 and I thought, okay, we'll have it soon. He wasn't in middle. He was going into like 4th or 5th grade. Maybe he was 10. And the sweet little 7-year-old neighbor had heard something at school, repeated it to my son. My son comes to me and is like, Mom, and he came right to me, which I was so thankful for. Right. But I was so caught off guard because I was like, you think you're protecting them. You think you're doing all the things. It was like he was over at this person's house across the street in the driveway for like 20 minutes riding a scooter and came home with loads of information. And I was like, oh, that's how that happened.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
We're gonna
then
do
I was
this right
like,
now.
okay, we're going to do this right now, which we did and didn't, but it was one of those where my eyes were very open to like that. I mean, I was definitely in a space of like, I can control what he sees and what he doesn't and what he learns and what he doesn't. That is not true.
No.
That is 100% false.
Yep.
You can protect them all you want unless they literally don't leave their room and you've locked the door and you slide food under the door, and they never see another human. Right. It is that much of an epidemic. They are exposed not once, they're exposed multiple times a day.
Advertisements in between things. Yeah. And so I think that I would love, at one point we'll dig into that, but it is
sorry to get off on that.
No, but but I was just saying on the spiritual journey, just the shift of what is being exposed and understanding what other people might be coming to our kids at in elementary school.
Yeah, for sure. So the last one is relational. And I think this one is really important for women. So this is not going to really be about kids or business or, maybe a little perimenopause thrown in there, but not really. Relational, I think your 30s and 40s, late 30s, 40s, maybe into your 50s, your relationships are really getting redefined. I think that we see lots of changes in them. There is a lot of letting go of things that maybe don't serve you anymore. And we get more confident as we get older. So I think that's a lot of reason why, you learn to set boundaries. Like you learn, hey, this is really unhealthy for me. And I've been in it for a really long time. And so I think I look forward to diving into kind of what that looks like. It's friendships, it's marriage, it's family relationships, and just making sure that at the end of the day, it goes back to like, are you taking care of yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself for the people that are a huge part of your life and for your kids and your spouse and et cetera, et cetera. So
Absolutely.
I think relational is a huge shift because I know people just get tired of kind of putting up with some of and they just have like, oh, I'm done. Oh, I can be done. I have permission to be done. If I want to be done with that relationship or if I want changes or I want to talk to somebody, I can talk to them. I can have a voice, all the different
Absolutely.
things.
And without feeling guilt.
Yeah. For sure.
And I think that was feeling like there's putting these expectations on yourself that you have to, and I think especially wherever you might be tuning in from, but like our specific area, there is just so much of, and actually anywhere can be keeping up with the Joneses and just that feeling. And so I think that, I don't know if, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I do feel like sometimes we hit this age and because we want to protect our sphere so much and just our sanity, we almost, I find myself doing this. I almost sometimes avoid
isolate a little bit.
Because I don't want to get caught up in anything, but then I don't give any a chance, right?
I'm 100% guilty of that. My best friend moved back here 2 years ago and all my friends that I did hang out with, they're like, oh, cool, Nicole's back. So like, you don't need us anymore. And it wasn't that. It was just like, it was like family and it was just so easy. And it was like, it's hard to maintain all these relationships while you yourself are like trying to like not reinvent yourself, but really like focus on, oh wait, my feelings matter. I've got to like figure out what's best for me. So I did kind of find myself kind of narrowing everything down and kind of filtering everything out for a little while. Cause I just needed I needed quiet.
Well, and talking about shifting into this season, I mean, for the longest time, again, depending on whatever season you're in, but when you have little ones, you don't go anywhere without them and you have the babysitter and it's your life's just kind of caught up in that. Or then you sit in this phase where like you're friends with your kids' friends, parents.
Yeah. The bubble.
And then you're shifting again. And then it's like, wait, no, this is me. Who are my friends? You know, we were at on a road trip not too long ago and we did these like car conversations. And my sister-in-law was like, you know, if you could go on a trip and with your, you know, best friends, who would it be? And my husband and I both like, you made the list. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I did have this moment where I was like, who are my friends?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or my kids are like, what? You don't have friends? I'm like, no, we do. But like you said, it's these basic questions that are so funny because when you're a kid, it's so easy to answer. And then you get older and I'm like, I don't.
Did your parents have a lot of friends?
No.
Mine had
I shouldn't say that if you're watching.
I remember.
Like, just sports parents.
Yeah. Like we never went to people's houses and did maybe a handful of times, but my kids will grow up being like, oh, my mom has 7 best friends.
But see, I don't.
Best friends. But
I need them.
But I think that they would say me. She's taking applications. That sounds exhausting. I'll share mine with you because they're really good.
That's a whole different episode. But
a whole different episode.
Remember the sympathy piece, baby?
You're too busy. I can't even get her to have she is too busy.
No, but I don't want to be remembered as the person that's busy. I've really been struggling with that lately.
Well, that's why we started a podcast. We're going to help you. This is actually only for you, Stacy. Nobody else is going to hear this. I literally
thought about that the other day. I was like, what if I died and I was remembered as the busy one? Like, how sad is that?
You'll be remembered as the very productive.
She's too busy to make it to her funeral.
No. She's opening another business. It's fine. Okay. So this shift forces women to reevaluate, I think, in a nutshell, who gets access to them and why.
Yeah.
Does that sound? And so I think you're in a great spot because not a lot of people have access to you. So you can
Am I?
Yeah, it's better than having too many.
Okay.
Because then you have to hurt people's feelings. But I guess if you don't have sympathy, then it won't really matter.
But also maybe we're going off into tangent, but even when I was in college, I think maybe I'm just wired that way because I was friends with everybody, but I didn't have close friends because
nothing wrong with
I worked at the library and the coffee shop.
I was going to say,
can you imagine? That's how I was
say that I love how you prioritize your family and you and Kyle y'all do everything together. And I think that is missing because we're too in the girls' nights out, guys go do that, couples go to dinner, but where's the family time? Yeah. So that's a whole nother episode probably. So, but I love that you do that. So don't beat yourself up because I feel like you have to have a nice mix and you do have friends.
I do. And again, we're in a stage of life. We're in this.
You're so busy.
We're in a stage.
You are so busy.
It's fun.
Okay. So that kind of is the podcast in a nutshell.
Absolutely. And I will say too, as we are on this journey and bringing on guests and to kind of tiptoe into that a little bit, the guests will be bringing on we'll be experts in certain fields sometimes. Some days and some episodes, it'll be experts speaking into the topics that we're talking about that we both really, really care about. We want to hear from people who can help and be a resource and be able to share that. And then others might be others going through the same stage or phase or coming out of it and maybe they can come and shed a little light. And then we also, I know you're going to do this, we would love to hear from you and the audience on what topics you'd love to be
anonymous. It's anonymous. No one will know that you messaged in, but let us know what topics are
Surfer Girl 123. Yeah.
What topics are really hard for you to talk about with your friends that you would like some feedback on, questions. We want to dive in and kind of find the answers for you because it helps us selfishly. I feel we're all helping each other. So definitely any ideas that you guys have on topics, we would love to hear.
Absolutely.
But we will cover everything probably that you can think of. So
and
you
more.
you can tune into the ones that really resonate with you.
Yeah.
But hopefully they all do on some level. So
absolutely.
And if you listened and you made it to the end, thank you.
We're super excited that you're here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're excited to start this. And like I said, feedback is fantastic. If you guys want to follow us, like the podcast, send it to maybe another girlfriend who would really get something out of this, who you feel would benefit. We just would love for you to share as much as possible.